So the German word for delivery hero is Lieferheld, actually. But as we have some more ambitions in just Germany, it's delivery hero. First, let me tell you a little bit about what we do or what the platform is, the marketplace is about. Here we go. So what you find on Lieferheld is the ability to order food online, so pizza, pasta, sushi. And it's quite easy. So what you do is you type in a zip code where you are, and then we show you all the restaurants that deliver food to you, which, if you think about it, what people used to do is, when I used to be hungry, I used to open a drawer and fumble around, get some menus out. Here I actually see everybody that delivers to my location. I see the ratings, I see who's good, who's bad. So I can just click on it, and then I can just order out of the menu. I don't have to call, which is another thing. I used to fight with my wife who has to call the delivery service, and I always ended up calling the service. I never really like to do it. So here I can just click all the stuff together. And then if I find out I don't have any cash at hand, I actually can even pay online. So it's very convenient, much more convenient than ordering food, what the most people do these days, which is still using actually the phone and ordering food through these menu flyers that you might find in your mailbox. So it's quite interesting. So when I looked into that space, it's a much bigger space than I would have imagined. In Europe, there's 15 billion euros spent every year on pizza, pasta, and sushi. And most of that is being done the traditional way. You're hungry, you look for the menu that you have somewhere flying around, and you call that place up, and then the food ends up being at your house. Very little of that is being done online, actually. But we believe over short or long term, actually, most of that will switch to online. So we believe there's no reason why people would want to order offline because, as I said before, it's much more transparent. You see all the places that deliver food to you. It's much more convenient. You don't have to talk on the phone. People really understand you, and you can even pay online. So we believe there's going to be a channel switch where most of that is going to switch to online. So we estimate that in Europe alone, 3.5 billion of these orders will be processed online by the next couple of years. And the interesting thing about this market, it's there out there today. So it's not like a market that's going to develop in the future. People do order food today. It's out there. Most of them doing it in an inefficient way. So we've built a marketplace here that does it actually much more efficient. That's quite interesting. So that's just a snapshot of one of our markets. It's Germany. We've been here. We started this market at the beginning of the year. We've been around roughly 10 months. We are now serving over 700 cities with more than 4,000 restaurants participating. So we basically are able to deliver to 72% of the German population in such period of time. So we were able to actually, after 7 months, to be number 2 players in that market. And the interesting about the orders is that most of our orders already are being done by return users. So it's a business where people come once, and once they like it, they keep coming back. And they keep coming back depending on the amount of pace that they would order anyway. So we don't have to change their behavior. So if I order 3 times a week, I'm still going to order 3 times a week, but I use a better channel. I use the Delivery Hero platform to order my food continuously. And that's actually a very interesting dynamic that we see. So talking about these marketplaces, there's actually 2 barriers of entries I want to talk about, which are very closely connected to the marketplace experience. First one is that there is this vicious circle. So of course, virtuous circle. You have restaurants and you have consumers that you have to get on your platform to start with. It's like the classical chicken and the egg problem. So let's start with those restaurants. You need to have a lot of restaurants on the platform because a lot of restaurants, they eventually drive the conversion rates that you actually are able to generate. So if somebody looks for a restaurant, there's only one restaurant in the delivery area, conversion rates are pretty poor. So the more restaurants you have on the platform, the more conversion rates you have. So of course, higher conversion rates, they actually increase the customer acquisition that you have on your platform, obviously. And the interesting thing about that is if you have more customers on your platform, you gather data. So in the end, what we do at most marketplaces, I would say, are a data play. So what we on our end are able to do, we're able to see who's ordering what, when, how often, what are the good restaurants, what are the bad restaurants. Because in the end, if the food doesn't taste well, it's our fault. People don't come back. There's a nice example in Berlin I'd like to point out. There's 2 restaurants. One is Cooking with Grandmas, Omi Kocht. And they have a reorder rate of 37%, which is pretty good. People keep coming back. They order at that restaurant. And then there's another restaurant. It's called Ha Long Snack. And the reorder rate at the restaurant is 2%. we call the black hole of restaurants. So we know customers going to that restaurant, they're never going to come back to our site. So it's important to gather all that data to drive actually the retention of customers, because that in turn drives the number of transactions, which in turn drives the amount of restaurants you can get onto the platform and so forth. So we believe that's one of these nice barriers of entry of a classical marketplace that we see in that field as well, that the more restaurants you get, you start this circle over and over again, and it gets harder and harder to enter the market. Another interesting barrier to entry is actually the way these customer cohorts that we acquire in terms of how profitable they are. So this business is a repeat order business, so a customer who comes once to our platform is not profitable. You're going to lose another customer. It's quite important that the customer comes back again and again to order food. So what we see already that every cohort that we generate after the third quarter actually starts to break even. So we pretty much know how much money we have to put to work to get certain amount of cohorts in, and when they start to contribute actually to our return on investment. So basically after 3 quarters, every cohort is net profit contributing to that space that we see here. But we believe this will change once this channel switch is over. So when people ask me, who's your competitor, and there's other platform out there, they ask me, are you competing directly against these online platforms? And I'm saying, no, these are actually not my competitors. My competitor is actually the paper flyer and the phone, because that's the channel that 95% of people are still using today. But once all of these people have switched to an online platform, I believe there's going to be a lock-in effect, because the CPAs will be much higher. But in the end, it doesn't matter whether you order from platform A, B, and C if you find the same restaurants. On average, a customer is ordering at 3.4 restaurants, and they're always ordering the same stuff at the same periods every time a week. So really you get used to your platform. Important is that once you have done that channel switch, we believe the CPAs will increase dramatically, and that in turn will be a lock-in effect, because for a newcomer to come into that space, it'll be much harder actually to acquire these customers. And these cohorts will break even not after 3 quarters, but maybe after 6 quarters, 7, 8 quarters, and there's probably not a lot of investors that are stomaching an entrance into that space. That's like a second lock-in effect that we see here, and we see it not only because it being a marketplace, but because it being a channel switch, that once a channel has switched completely to online, it'll be harder to enter in. And I always like to look into this flight booking space. I mean, who's ordering the flight anymore going into a travel agency or calling up? So this channel switch has happened already. Here in the food ordering space, this channel switch has not happened yet, it's just about to start. So right now, Delivery Hero is active in Germany, in Australia, in Switzerland. We just launched Russia in that space. And we're quite like the dynamics of the models. What we're doing right now is we're actually taking this marketplace approach and moving it to more markets actually within Europe and as well outside Europe. So there's going to be another 3 European markets and 5 emerging markets that we're going to launch in the next 6 to 12 months with their service. Always the idea is having a marketplace approach, trying to create this virtual circle of people coming back, creating data, creating more transaction, and then getting more restaurants onto the platform. And on the other hand, creating really profitable cohorts and making sure that the money we put to work start to pay back after the 3rd quarter, and then we can use that money again to put back into the business case. That's Lieferheld or Delivery Hero for you guys. Thank you.